very detailed analysis of photo, video, and other evidence, we are releasing photos of these two suspects. They are identified as Suspect 1 and Suspect 2. They appear to be associated. Suspect 1 is wearing a dark hat. Suspect 2 is wearing a white hat. Suspect 2 set down a backpack at the site of the second explosion just in front of the Forum restaurant.
That's FBI Special Agent in Charge Richard Delorier at a news conference earlier today. For more on this story, we're joined by NPR's Dina Temple-Raston. And Dina, the headline out of this briefing isn't just the images, but one word that we heard 7 times in that 30-second clip, suspect.
That's right. For the first time since the Monday's bombing, there are suspects. The FBI released these photographs of these two 20-something men in hoodies and baseball caps. And they didn't just call them individuals of interest. They called them suspects, and that's meaningful. It means they have enough, they think, to actually charge these men with something. The FBI appealed to the public to help identify them, and they warned, and I thought this was significant, that they considered them armed and extremely dangerous.
Dina, we've described some of what we can see in these videos, but tell us, when it comes to investigations, how good is the quality here?
Actually, the quality, particularly on the video, is very good. They got surveillance video from outside a restaurant called the Forum restaurant, which is near to where the second explosion happened. And the stills taken from that video of suspect number 2, the man in the white baseball cap and hoodie, came from that camera, and they're really clear. They've been putting these photographs through facial recognition software for days, hoping to get a match with databases that have driver's license photographs and passports, and that hasn't happened yet, which is why they're appealing to the public now.
What did the FBI or the other authorities see in these videos that convinced them that these two men aren't just individuals of interest, they are suspects?
Well, apparently suspect number 2 appears to be putting down a backpack near the site of that second bombing. And then he walked away from the backpack, and a short time later, the explosion happened. He also, if you look at the photographs, he appears to be making a phone call, but the FBI isn't sure exactly what that means yet. The other suspect wasn't seen, at least as far as we know, actually doing something with a backpack. But the two of them were seen together, which is why he's also seen as a suspect.
By the way, if suspect number 2 is indeed making a phone call, he's making it with his left hand. He's holding his left hand.
So he's a lefty. Maybe that's one more piece of information they have.
Well, why did they decide to release these images now?
I think they decided to release it because they did all they could on their own trying to figure out who these men were by putting them through the databases. There had been an enormous argument within the FBI whether to do this, because basically in one way they lose an advantage and in another way they gain one. They lose the advantage of surprise and trying to find these men. If they ID'd them, they might be able to arrest them without incident. The public are not the only people who are going to be seeing these images. These young men may well be seeing their images as well, and that sort of takes away the element of surprise.
Okay, thank you, Dina.
You're welcome.
It's NPR's Dina Temple-Raston.
Earlier today in Boston, mourners gathered to remember the dead with an interfaith service at the city's Cathedral of the Holy Cross. Among the speakers was President Obama, who delivered this message of resilience.
When the Sox and Celtics and Patriots or Bruins are champions again, to the chagrin of New York and Chicago fans, the crowds will gather and watch a parade go down Boylston Street. And this time next year, on the third Monday in April, the world will return to this great American city to run harder than ever and to cheer even louder for the 118th Boston Marathon. Bet on it.
At that service in Boston, there was also music, notably from cellist Yo-Yo Ma. When he was asked to play, he instinctively turned to Bach. He chose the stark and haunting Sarabande from Bach's unaccompanied cello Suite No. 5 in C minor.